Hello and welcome to your English class. I hope by now you have finished seeing the video for the previous poem that I taught, My Mother at 66. And I also hope that you have finished writing the central idea of the poem. Some of you have some doubts whether this syllabus or English is the same for for all the four streams. It's a common subject. Whether you are in arts, commerce, science, you have to study the same subject. You have to see the same video and you have to maintain your copies. You have to make one copy. अभी तक उसमें आपने थोड़ा सा लैंग्वेज वोकैबुलरी और फिगर्स ऑफ स्पीच करा है. After that you have to make in the same copy just write poetry on one page and then you will start the poetry section. जब ये section ख़त्म हो जाएगा then I will let you know what we will start and you have to maintain the notes of whatever is taught to you in the same copy. So there is no need to make two separate copies. You have to make only one copy. Well, today we are going to start the poem An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. Slum मतलब होता है झोपड़पट्टी and it's a poem which describes what kind of students come in a slum to study, what is their financial background, what is their mental status, what is how they are to look at, what dreams do they have, and whether they are able to fulfill those dreams or not is described in this particular poem. The poem is written by Stephen Spender. Stephen Spender was born in 1909. He was an English poet and he was also an essayist. Matlab, he also used to write essays. He was studying at the Oxford University, but he did not take his degree. He did not complete his studies at the Oxford. He went to Berlin in the year 1930. He was quite interested in politics. So later on, when he started concentrating on writing, he wrote on themes of social injustice and inequalities that existed in the society. In this particular poem, he is describing a school, especially a classroom, where all the children who are living in the slum area come and study. I'll be explaining two paragraphs in this particular video, and the next two paragraphs will be taught in part 2 of this same video. Okay, so first we will read the first two paragraphs and then I will explain it to you. An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, written by Stephen Spender. Far, far from gusty waves, these children faces, like rootless weeds, the hair torn around their parlor. The tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper-seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease. His lesson from his desk. At back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in tree room other than this. On sour cream walls, donations, Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding old cities, belled flowery Tyrolese valley, open-handed map awarding the world its world. And yet, for these children, these windows, not this world, are world, where all their futures painted with a fog, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. Again, I'll read the first paragraph and then I'll make the explanation. Far, far from the gusty waves, these children's faces, like rootless weeds, the hair torn around their pallor. The tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper seeming boy with the rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. At back of the class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in a tree room other than this. So, in this particular poem or in this particular paragraph, the poet is explaining us uh, the physical features of different students and how do they look physically. And that physical appearance will make you understand in what poor conditions these children are living in. He says, far, far from the gusty waves, these children's faces. मतलब कि जो real world है, जिस दुनिया में आप और हम रहते हैं, that is very much different from the world of these children. Because these children are living in slums. They do not have proper facilities. They do not have money. They are living in poverty. They have lack of classrooms or lack of food, lack of money, and they are living in a very congested area. जैसे आपने देखा होगा झोपड़पट्टी कैसी होती है, उन एरियाज़ में ये रह रहे हैं. तो इन लोग की दुनिया हमारी दुनिया से बिल्कुल फ़र्क है. और we can say it is very different from the city life where people live in apartments or bungalows or flats or normal houses. It's very, very different from that. Like rootless weeds, the hair torn around their pallor. Means he says that they are being born like useless plants, useless like rootless weeds. मतलब जैसे जो जंगली पौधे होते हैं जो कहीं पे भी उग जाते हैं. It is the same. It is compared. Those children are compared to those plants which are useless. Actually, they don't have any value, but they grow wherever they can find little water, whatever, wherever they can find little conditions to grow, they grow. And that's the similarly with these children. Wherever they find some conditions when they are born and now they are existing in the difficult conditions of the slum area. And when they come to school, they are not dressed up like you. You come in good uniforms, you comb your hair, you oil your hair, plait your hair, and iron your dress, and then you come to school. But these children are coming to school just like that, uncombed hair, any whatever clothes they have, they are wearing that and coming. And all their hair is like spread on their forehead. A tall girl with her weighed down head. So there is a tall girl in that classroom, and she always has her head bent. It's bent because of the tension that she lives in, because of the circumstances that she lives in. It's उसकी जो life है वो difficult है. It is not very easy. So because of that circumstances that she lives in, the situation that she lives in, or the difficult way that she lives in, because of that, her hair, she doesn't have confidence so that she can lift up her head and walk with confidence and with pride. She is torn down with lots of difficulties, with lots of tensions of her parents, of her poverty, of the circumstances that she's living in. तो वो जितनी लंबी है खूबसूरत है, लेकिन हमेशा सर झुका के चलती है. The paper seeming boy with rat's eyes. Paper seeming boy means very thin boy, बिल्कुल, क्योंकि he is suffering from malnutrition. They do not have proper food to eat. They do not have enough money to buy them food for twice a day or thrice a day. There are times when they don't have money for food, they exist on water. There are times when maybe they don't have food at all, or they eat once in a day. तो उनके घर में कि सर्कमस्टांसेस के बारे में हमको नहीं मालूम है, लेकिन उन लोग को देख के लग रहा है कि वो काफ़ी मुश्किल सर्कमस्टांसेस में जीते हैं. So he is so thin and his eyes are big. So like when you see a rat, you can see the eyes. And similarly, this boy also reminds of a rat. His physique, his look, his eyes, they remind us or they resemble the feature of the rat. The stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease. So there is one more boy who is stunted. Stunted मतलब underdeveloped, मतलब वो अच्छे से ग्रो नहीं हो पाया, उसकी बॉडी अच्छे से डेवलप नहीं हो पाई है, और शायद उसके फादर को भी यही डिजीज़ है कि उसकी बोन्स अच्छी तरह से डेवलप नहीं हुई थी. So similarly, this child is also facing the same problem. He has not developed properly, he cannot walk straight, he has twisted bones, and that is all because of lack of proper food, lack of proper place to live in, right? And he is sitting at this desk. So there is a tall girl who is sitting with the head bowed down. There is this very, very thin boy who reminds the poet of a rat, and there is this underdeveloped boy also they are all sitting in a class and trying to study at their desk. And there is one more child at the back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, right? तो एक और बच्चा है क्लास में जो सबसे पीछे बैठा हुआ है, and his eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in a tree room. Other than this means that this child is like little slightly better looking than the others. And this child, when you look at him in his eyes, he lives in a dream. और वो एक ऐसी means he's living in a hope that one day he will also be as free as a squirrel, and how the squirrel jumps about on the ground and then climbs up the trees and then jumps to the other tree and then comes down, और कितना फ्रीडम के साथ वो खेल रही होती है, एंजॉय कर रही होती है. That is the same thing that he is dreaming of sitting in that class, that one day he will also be free from all the tensions that his family goes through. Once if he is educated, maybe he will be able to fulfill his dreams. So he is living in that world of dreams, that maybe one day he may get a chance to live a normal life. He may get a chance to live a life of his dreams. So in this first paragraph, we have read about the different students that are coming to the class. One is a very tall girl who's bowed down with the weight of her tensions. Then there is one malnutrition boy who is as thin as a paper. And there is this one underdeveloped boy who is not developed properly and he has some disease of the bones. And there is this boy who is hoping and dreaming of a very, very good and bright future. Second paragraph. On sour cream walls, donations, Shakespeare's head cloudless at dawn, civilized dome, riding old cities, bellied flowery, Tyrolese valley, open-handed map, awarding the world its world, and yet for these children, these windows not this world our world, where all their future is painted with a fog, a narrow street sealed end with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. Means कि अब second paragraph में the poet is describing the classroom where they are sitting, and he's saying that the classroom is painted with cream color. Okay, and these, maybe somebody must have donated that paint, and it is so dull in that class, it gives a very dull picture. ऐसे ही things, there are things around the class, some things are decorated with the uh, gifts that are given in donation, और उसमें एक world map है, there is a map hanging in the class, there is a picture of Shakespeare hanging in the class, and there is some sceneries in the class, which is very very ironic in the sense कि ये जो मैप है या शेक्सपियर की फ़ोटो है या सीनरीज हैं, all these they give a hope to these children, and unfortunately these are pictures of, like the picture of Shakespeare or the Tyrolese Valley or the map of the world. Unfortunately they are hanging in a classroom where there is no studies. वहाँ अच्छे से पढ़ाई नहीं होती है, वहाँ कभी कभी टीचर भी नहीं आते हैं पढ़ाने के लिए, कभी कभी बच्चे नहीं आ पाते हैं पढ़ाने के लिए, क्योंकि maybe they are busy earning money, maybe they are not attending the class, maybe sometimes teachers are not there. So it is you can imagine it's like a government school in a foreign land. Okay, somewhat similar to some of the schools in our country, but more or less the same. So there are flowers, the pictures of flowers in the sky, in the classroom. There's a picture of a valley in the classroom, and it's beautiful, it's wonderful, and unfortunately it's giving a hope to those children that maybe that ये दुनिया क्लास की है, क्लासरूम में जो दुनिया है या उनकी दुनिया जो है, that is in the slums, it's giving them a hope that there is a world outside, beyond the slums. There is a world which is very different, which is flowery, which is beautiful, which is hope. But unfortunately these children will not be able to enter into that world because of the conditions that they are living in. They are living in a slum, in a city where there are lots of buildings surrounding them, right? Like it's somewhat like the slums of Bombay, where there are all around, it's the, I think, the biggest slum area in India, and there are all buildings around them. तो उनको पहाड़ क्या होते हैं, या पानी क्या होता है, या झरना क्या होता है, या there are so many things, beautiful things present in the nature, but they do not know about those beautiful things because they haven't seen it. They are living in a very congested area, surrounded with buildings, surrounded with a sky. It says that awarding the world its world, and yet for these children these windows are not the world where all the future is painted with the fog. Okay, the poet is saying that the future of these children is very very foggy, in the sense it's very dim. There is no hope for them, maybe because of lots of circumstances, their financial status or their economic background. They will not be able to fulfill their dreams. Many of them will not be able to achieve what they are dreaming of. That is why he says their future is very bleak, very foggy. And it also says it's a narrow street. जैसे कि क्योंकि उनका जो घर है वो एक पतली सिकड़ी झोपड़पट्टी में घर बहुत पास पास हैं. अच्छा, आप मतलब कि आप कभी maybe their houses are so small that you want to stretch also, you can touch the walls, right? And the sky also is a lead sky, means it's a gray color sky instead of a blue sky because of the pollution that they are staying in. So their health conditions, the environment over there is also not so um, healthy for them or good for them, right? And they are very far away from the rivers, the mountains, and even there are times because of the pollution they are not able to see a clear blue sky with stars. So along like the poet is comparing their life with the nature around them, जैसे उनका environment, जैसे उनका nature around them, जैसे the circumstances around them are so uh, full of pollution, so dark and so dull. Similarly, their lives have also become so dark and dull, and therefore it becomes very ironic when they are sitting in a class with these beautiful pictures around them, which is giving them a hope that maybe there is a world like this outside. But unfortunately, why they are so sad and why they are so dull is because they know that it's a world outside which is beyond their reach. They will not be able to go into that world, right? So I'll stop the video now. You can just go through the 2 paragraphs and see the video again, and if possible you can check the summary online also. If you type the name of the poem, an elementary school classroom, you will get the summary on Google. So whatever is convenient to you, in the sense ki after reading the poem, after watching this video, if you are still not able to understand, then you can go online also. Otherwise, I'm sure that you will be able to understand this if you watch this video properly. So till then, take care of yourselves, stay at home and stay safe. Bye bye.